Hello? Hello? Hi, my name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s, we're gonna be harvesting hops today! Yay! Just a quick note, yeah, sorry about not doing this Sunday. I woke up Sunday morning and felt like absolute dog excrement. I think that's the politest way I can say that. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but I definitely still have a little bit of nasaliness to myself. So I hope that doesn't bother anyone too much. And so yeah. Okay, so the goal of today's stream is for me to yap about hops as much as I can while also harvesting the hops. So right here we got hops, and literally to harvest them you just pull them off the hops are the flower of the hop plant, and some of them are on like a short little petiole, which the petiole is like the little small branch. It comes off like the main vine of the hop plant. Yeah, sometimes you'll have like a side flower off from the main one. So this is basically going to be what the stream is, because, well, me picking flowers off hop plants while also talking about them. Because let me go ahead and after I get a few flowers picked off here, let me show you what I'm staring down right now. So, and anyone has any questions about hops, blah blah blah, feel free to ask. But yeah, so this is what you see on the work desk, the workstation. Not a lot of action going. This is the first set of the hop harvest from the homestead. So every year I grow hops, and then whenever it's convenient for me to do so, I will basically make a beer where I'll just use homegrown hops in it. So this is going to basically be a prelude to that beer. So, but yeah, this is basically what we got going on. And also, going back to not being able to stream on Sunday, some of the hops are a bit past there. So I actually have one bind here, which hop plants grow on binds, not vines. There's a technical reason for that. Bit more on that here more, but when the hop flowers get a little too old, they'll start to like really brown up. Yeah, like that one right there. So I've had a few of these. Definitely look like they've spent a little too much time on the vine. Otherwise, it smells very distinctly of like hop in here right now. So we'll come back to the workbench area, what have you. So as far as generally speaking, this is around about the time of year when I harvest hops. I feel like this year it's a bit sooner than normal. I think we had like a really early spring. I remember right, like let me think. I forget when I trellised the hops up, but the good thing is, one of the few good things about social media is I can actually go back through and check the dates and stuff and all that fun stuff. So first short section of vine is done. So I don't know if this will show up on the webcam, but this is an reasonably good illustration of how like hops climb. So hops are called binds, not vines, because there's really stiff downward facing hairs on the surface of the bind, and basically hops climb via friction. Whereas like a lot of vines, they usually will have like, so grapes, for instance, they will have, what's the little like part of the plant? Trellis? Not trellis. Starts with a T, but it's basically like a little part that will like extend out and wrap around and grab stuff and like physically hold. And then you also have, some will send out like little like root-like structures that will like adhere to a surface. Like generally, what most people think of vines will climb that way. Like think winter creeper, English ivy, Virginia creeper, stuff. Those are like vines. But hops is a bind. So they climb using stiff hair. So everything that's done, I am literally just going to throw it in a pile behind me and worry about it for another day. And then grab the next one. So not only can you pull them off, you can also like use like a little pair of handy dandy shears. And this wire really gets in the way of using it like a tool. Woo! Wait. I saw a little, like, there it is. At first, it looked tickish at first, and I was like, oh no, you gotta die, sorry. 6 die here. Generally, I'm pro bug, but, and that is a thing I hope we'll see some of. But yeah, you can use the shears to do this. It's a little bit of a pain. It's a little tedious and slow, and well, we got a lot of work to do here today in collecting these hops. So we're gonna just go for the physical approach, even though it's probably a little bit harder on like hop flower. But I don't want to be like snip, 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 snip. It'll be a little too much work to do it that way with the harvest. So, as you can kind of see, I've got some cardboard down here that I'm putting the hop cones into. If you noticed briefly earlier, the wire, hang out over there, please and thank you. The area where I have my hop vines staged, if you will. Yay! That's another bind done. Ew, but the small one. we got some really big ones incoming. But as far as like the surface, I've got what is basically an old broken window screen. And so hops spoil quickly. That is a unfortunate fact of growing hops, is they are very quick to spoil. Oldie? Grab Oldie here. This is the one from earlier where the hops have a little bit of age to. And that's also like another thing with like hops is they have a really maybe not like the most narrow, but they have a fairly narrow period of time in which you can harvest them. So that was like another like bit of a lead sad of the Sunday stream not happening, was like, oh, if I wait, am I gonna lose out on any harvest? I don't think I'm losing out too much. It's like, can't let them get much past that. Give it a nice smell. It doesn't smell sour, which if your hops have like a bit of a sour smell to them, then you might not want to be using those in your beer. Okay. Just gonna be working along this right here. So unlike the other two, this one has a, I'm sure if you can see it. I think you can kind of see it. Here, let me get this hop on mine. So you can kind of see the twine there. as much as I really like using wire for a lot of my like trellising and stuff, I actually can't use wire because with the hops, because they climb using friction, and if I were to use wire, basically like smooth metal, hops will not be able to climb it. Real skinny one. But yeah, those are like ideal hop cones right there. Nice like light emerald green. Yeah, those are hops at their finest. Got so big thing with the harvest and stuff is making sure like staying organized is actually really important, which is why I always try to like start at like one end and then like work my way down. Because yeah, because sometimes if the vines get bunched up on like the trellis outside, you can end up with basically end up with a mass, like basically a tangula of stuff, and makes it really hard when it comes to harvest, keeping track and making sure you can actually keep your keeping all your binds in line. I can't believe I just thought of that right now. All your binds in the line. The curse of being a botanist and loving puns. Oh. One of these. So. As for... we kind of talked a little bit about what to look for if a hop is too far gone. Probably should also talk about when a hop is ready. So, got it open. Oof. Man, this emerald green of it is this. So I split it in half, which I think this helps. So I've ripped the hop cone in half, and you can kind of see yellow in there. It doesn't look too good on the webcam, but the yellow is actually powder. Well, so the powder that you see there, that's actually the alpha acids, all the fun stuff that makes hops taste good. Sorry, bug. But yeah, hopefully there'll be some cool bugs we'll find in the binds. I've had some cool stuff like show up in these like binds, because even though I like bring them in and start going through them and stuff, like we'll still see like stuff, various critters and whatnot hidden amongst that and distraction. Like quest off the main. Oh goodness great. But yeah, I'm gonna be, and on that note, I'm gonna be drinking a lot of water this stream. Simply because of how my throat's doing. I mean, I've improved. Well, I think anything past what Sunday was for me was improved. Once I get through this bind, I will actually show all of you. We'll talk a little bit about cultivation, because I actually dug up a small section of hop rhyme zone? Yeah. And I want to show that off to all of you. Then we'll talk a little bit about the cultivation of hops. But, yeah. All your binds and... Ooh, came off. These So, one fun thing is... you can see, like, hop cones as they're small. They get a little bit bigger. Then they get like full. what you see down there. Ooh, gracious. One moment. Ooh, goodness. Hopefully my throat will survive this stream. At least the good news is I don't have another stream, which will be Popcard. That should be a fun stream. It'll actually be fun to do like a woodworking stream. Recently, it's all been like gardening stuff. I mean, this was supposed to be like a Sunday. This was supposed to be a nice chill stream, whereas I usually my midweek streams are also like actually playing with my tool. Yeah, I don't want to be like, especially being under the weather. I definitely really do not want to be feeling too much sawdust. But that is also another like downside to like hand picking hops off, is that sometimes the leaf will come with you, and we don't want the leaf. You don't want that. Oh, no, it is not our lab. I mean, oh, that's fine. Oh yeah, okay. So another bind bites the dust. So I have a show and tell. So we're going to talk a little bit about hop cultivation here. So what you see down here is called a hop rhyme zone. So this is actually how hops grow. They basically grow from like large fat roots that will grow along just under soil line or just a few inches down, and then it will like pop up in a bind, will form. You'll get your plant. So, and as for cultivation of hops, generally speaking, depending on your climate, pretty fairly easy plants to grow. If you get a decent amount of rainfall and you have decently good soil, you can grow hops. It's actually not that hard. Granted, hops do, as all plants, have their preferred growing environments. That is why most of the production of hops, at least in North America, is concentrated in the Pacific Northwest, up in like Washington State, Oregon, and some parts of Canada. The volcanic soils out there are apparently just perfect, and that's just where they grow best. Another thing here is you can kind of see the little trellis I had. So for my hops, I just use like jute string because it's cheap. And it's cheap, it's easy to work with, all that fun stuff. And then what I do to anchor it to the ground down here, so this is actually just basically a piece of galvanized wire bent into a U, and I basically just put a little knot on it, stick it into the ground, and once the hop bind gets a couple inches tall, usually about a foot or so, I'll just like wrap well, now I'm wrapping the twine around the bind, but usually it's easier to do it the other way around. But yeah, you just wrap it up, and once you get like a couple of wraps around it, you walk away. And you're pretty much done interacting with your hop plant for the rest of the season. That is perhaps one of the nice things about growing hops, is like getting the trellising up is work. Hops grow big. The binds can get up to 30 feet tall. 30 feet tall, 10 meters for rest of the world that actually understands how units and measures should work. So, they can get very tall, and you gotta have a pretty decent amount of like trellising room for them. So, when I first grew hops back, I think 4 or 5 years ago, roundabouts there's, I trellised them up on a basketball goal. because that was a big tall thing. It was sturdy. I could run lines to it. It's actually right next to my driveway, so my driveway like slopes out towards the end there. So like all the rainfall and stuff goes that direction. So it helps provide extra water to support all the growth that these plants do. That was a whole big win-win. Good stuff. Yeah. Well, the basketball goal was not quite tall enough for these plants. And the thing is, once these plants hit the top of their trellis, they will actually start to flower. So I think I actually had 1 or 2 binds this year. They actually flowered early on me, and I wasn't able to get to the hops in time to harvest them. So I lost out on some hops, but that's kind of like, for me personally, in my experience cultivating this plant, that's been like the hardest thing, is like getting them to all grow, set, flower all at the same time. That has been the hardest part. This is actually only a portion of the hops I'm growing. When I was kind of like looking through the hop field, a little hesitant to call it a field, but hey, it's fun to think I have a hop field out there, because I only trellised up like maybe like more than a dozen, but not quite 15, somewhere around in there. Vines. I only pulled like half for today, so. I got some coffee. Stew. Show must go on. So, this is a little bit of the aside in the cultivation of hops. So, let's find. So, who's our next victim? Seems like a good victim. This will be our first victim. We're gonna start real small, and then it's gonna thicken up on us. So really, hop cultivation, as far as like the work you gotta put into it, there's a decent amount of work in like the trellising. Like, that's definitely like a fair amount of the work there. And then also like the other part of the work lies in what we are doing today. The harvest. Basically gotta go through these like vine by vine and go through and leaf there. Hey, leaf. Boot you. Boot. Done. And you gotta go through them and pick them. Bit by bit, little by little. How you gotta do it, because I don't think you can like take your finger and just, well, actually you actually don't want to do that, because those hairs I mentioned earlier, you gotta be you also want to be a little careful handling the binds, because the binds can hurt. Off. Go behind me. Behind me. Yeah. Some people, they'll actually like recommend like actually wearing leaves when you're like handling the binds, when you're like going, basically kind of sort of doing what, but I'm a free-spirited individual. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, I believe in a little bit of risk in life, so I'm unsleeved for various reasons. So, let's see. But also, like, so here we have like probably like, I think 3. Yeah, we got 3 binds all growing up the same thing, and this is kind of what I was like talking about earlier, was when the binds get a little too in a bind, Yay, plant puns. It can be a little challenging to go through them because it all just bunches up. And also all the leaves will like hide everything. Don't want that. We want that. We want the cone. Flower. Nice part. Yeah. Granted, did you know that prior to the use of hops in beer, beer used to be flavored, if you will, with a basic, I mean practically a concoction called I think it was called Groot. Yeah, I think that was it. And it was basically like a like a home mixture of various like herbs and spices that people would like mix up together, and basically eventually they discovered hops were like the best thing for like growing, well, for like flavoring beer. I mean, it's definitely probably the best one-stop plant for flavoring beer, considering the fact we've used it for hundreds of years. It's discovery for that purpose. And if you've been tuning in and been kind of looking at these leaves and being like, huh, those leaves are kind of a little funny looking. Yeah, because if you're thinking of a certain plant while you're looking at these leaves, said certain plant and hops are actually members of the same family. So, yeah, that's like a perfect hop cone. Nice and big. I mean, I've got some other big ones. That's like ideal hop right. That's like from pictures and stuff. Ooh, ooh, wait. This was actually the. Ooh, hey now. I wanna show you. Ah! This way. What? Ah. Oh. Okay, there that bug goes. I wanted to give you guys a closer look at them, but apparently they have other plants, which, I mean, I can respect that. I actually had one year, and I brought my binds in, and I was going through them, much like today. I saw a small tree frog just basically like pop out and onto the wall, which was real cool. Oh wow, a tree frog. Yeah, sometimes you'll certain areas on the bind and stuff, usually closer to the top, usually where growing its best, you'll actually find 3 hop flowers on a singular petiole, or like what we got going on here. So 6 hop cones in total. There we go. Those and some. Ooh, is this more? Oh wow, this is more. This is 4. It's a hop clover. Yeah. So this is actually like a dream I've been wanting to do for like a while, and like for a while, I mean like ever since I first started become a stuff, because I just thought like this would be like the most like fun and cozy like Zatsudan. It's just like harvesting hops, because it's just ridiculously working through vines. But yeah, got a big one done. So let's grab one, grab our next victim. So usually what I'll do when I have like, so I've got this section off this larger one. Kind of just make my life real easy. I just snip it off. That's really the best use of the snips. When you're like bringing in you're harvesting your hops. is just being able to like take sections off, especially when you have like multiple vines growing up the same like twine. Vines. Man, granted, I don't know. I feel like I've been a little quiet. I also can't. It's very the days of being human. And the joys of actually having like sick coworkers. Sick. But you can't complain about it too much because the coworker that's sick is your boss. Granted, he's been pretty understanding and hasn't been too hard on me this week. So I guess you gotta take your losses and so that's a bit of a side. So this is actually like the main vine of this hop plant. So, and this usually only happens towards the top. Is once it tops out, it will actually send out a shoot, and along that shoot, it will grow, and it pops off the side shoots, and it's at top. Let's try and raggle this part. I got part. Got a lot of different parts here. A lot going on here, so be a decent amount to undo. Looks like I think there's a lot of there's not a lot of hops in this section right in here, but we will just pick through it and see what we can find. And we are actually gonna make my life easier. I always believe in making my life easier. It's hard. Wow, there's so many. Huh? There's just like all of these black bugs in it. I haven't really seen those around. They're like a beetle-looking type of fella. There we go. Got a few smallish hops on underside. So we decluttered it a little bit, and then we have pretty hardy amount of hops growing here. Let's keep working through this. Oh, ooh, that was cool. So, just now a spider crawled out of the hop vine, then went to the edge of the table, set a line, and then just jumped off. And oh, they're crawling back up, and then they drop back down again. And they're back up. Can come out? Nope. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. It was just real funny. It was just crawl out, and immediately it was like bungee. We're doing good. Look at all that. Look at all that. It smells amazing. Woo. Okay, so hops definitely are not. It's funny because hops are used to preserve beer. Hops themselves actually don't preserve well unless you dry them. Which, in case any of you have been wondering what this black thing here is, that's my dehydrator. And this is like one of the... This is probably like the biggest harvest I use the dehydrator on. I'm not a big fan of fruit leather. Granted, who knows? Maybe if like the blackberry harvest like next year, like stupid something, I'll go ahead and end of this, because this is actually long. This is a long plant. Oh. Granted, once we get through like this section, it actually thins out. It's not as bushy. doesn't demand all my attention as much. Okay, so let's see. We talked a little bit about cultivation. Talked about a little bit about growth habits, where it's grown. Let's see. I mean, I guess I could talk about the variety. Granted, I don't know much about the history of this variety. Most of my hops are Comet. I think that's the word. Yeah, most of these are Comet hops, and usually like there's actually. Oh wow. Okay, so. Okay, but yeah, it's definitely a hop that's past its prime. Save that as a reference piece for later. But there's actually some hop varieties that actually have some like really cool stories to them, like Amarillo hops. If you ever go to like a homebrew supply store or like anywhere where they like sell hops, some large beverage establishments will sometimes like have like homebrew kits and stuff. If you look at the line for, well, if you buy Amarillo hops, one of the interesting things you'll see is actually a trademark logo at the end of the name, and that is because the name Amarillo is actually trademarked, because they actually found like this like weird hop, this one weird hop plant that were like, huh, that one's different than the rest of them. Then they grew it and cultivated it, and we got Amarillo hops out of it. I'm okay with, because Amarillo hops are really good, especially in pale ales. I think I actually used Amarillo hops in the pale ale I brewed a while ago. I don't know how long ago that was, though. It was over a month ago. And that's another thing that's like wild to me, is I've actually been doing this for a little bit, but I've also been real easygoing about it because of, well, not just branding, but also, ow, I've been picking off a lot of leaves. There's a leaf, here's a leaf. Granted, there's nothing wrong, it's just, it's going to be more fibrous material that's going to occupy stuff, and definitely got some aged hops in here. Yeah, you there looking a little rough. Showing ravages of their age. So, let's see. But yeah. So, getting back to like the name of the hop. These are Comet hops, and the beer I brew with them, I call it Cometing Corners. Like cutting corners, but like, I guess the most extreme version. Cutting corners. Because I'm always very loosey-goosey about the brewing process on that one. Because it's a little hard, because for one, I don't know how much alpha acids are in these hops. I would have to like get them tested lab somewhere. I'm not getting them tested in a lab somewhere. I don't got the money for that. I just brew a beer. Like, I'm literally just a small home hobbyist grower. I mean, if you're like an actual hop farmer or something, you would actually, yeah, you pretty much would have to get your stuff tested in order to sell it at market. But for hobbyist guys like myself, I don't have to worry about being fully into it. Ooh, look. There's, yeah, yeah, that little like black bug there. Like, these binds have just been like covered in them. Like, I'm not sure if you've noticed them crawling around, but there are I definitely noticed there's a couple of them crawling around here. Neat. Oh. They're spiders. They seem more beetly. Look at that. Those are some hops right there. Yeah. But yeah, it's a real fun brew to make because when I'm using hops I grew myself, you know, kind of makes it feel more organic. Definitely makes it feel more homesteady. And it also does save you a little bit of money. Which, I don't know if we want to talk about the economics of growing your own hops. I mean, I imagine I should probably end up with at least dry ounces of hops, which my homebrew store... Ooh, look at you go! Go, little bug, go! Which at my local homebrew store, hops are $2.50 an ounce. Which they're definitely one of the more expensive ingredients. Yeast is the most expensive ingredient, but that's just because yeast is the most important ingredient. Without yeast, you do not get beer. That is one big bind. All that's done. Yay! Actually, really, wow. Now that you get the... You see black dots moving around, that's little bugs. But yeah, there's always like a real fun like aspect to like thinking like I grew these hops, but also, so getting back to the math from earlier, 6 ounces of hops at 50 and ounces would be $5, so it's $15. $15. Probably spent, I don't know, 2 hours on, let's say 2 hours on trellising the hops. I don't think I spent that much time because I don't have like a super big like hop field. And then I'm probably gonna spend, see, we're already like 45 minutes in. Honestly, I'd say like probably like 2 to 3 hours in processing. Because eventually we're gonna get these hops on in the dehydrator. Actually be due after. Here in a bit, cause so like one of the things you kinda gotta like worry about is that like hops will spoil on you, and they will spoil quickly. Like I've actually heard stories of some craft breweries, like they will grow hops on their roof, and then when the harvest is ready, they'll literally open up like a ceiling window, and then they'll literally just drop the hops straight into the vat right off, well, the vat of beer. But I don't plan on using these anytime soon. We are currently, well, I'm currently in the beginning part of Oktoberfest beer season. So, if you haven't been paying attention to what I've been doing, so I did brew Oktoberfest beer, what, 2.5 weeks ago. Made a batch of Oktoberfest beer. I always make 2 batches of Oktoberfest beer because those are the beers. Because Oktoberfest is like top of the top for me in terms of beer styles. So Oktoberfest is number 1. So after this batch of Oktoberfest finishes fermenting, I'm actually going to take yeast from the fermenter. I'm going to save some of it, set it to the side, and I'm going to actually like re-energize that yeast to make a second batch. And then once I make that second batch of Oktoberfest and that's done, which we're in August right now, so I imagine September I'll probably make that in August because I'm letting my Oktoberfest ferment for 3 weeks. Because I'm using a lager use, so I want them to be in the fermenter for longer. So it's gonna be a while before we use these hops, like at least a full. Which I think that's enough of a aside. We can actually actually and set you off to here. And we'll bring out the not the fermenter, the dryer. Our handy dandy dryer. So, I think we'll actually just go ahead and throw some hops in. Get them drying out. So what you want to do with your hops to preserve the harvest, if you will, you want to dry them out. Then after they are like fully and completely dried, basically they'll be like dried basil, I guess, or like any other like dried herb. I mean, hey, we're using these like a herb. Get a little crunched in. Let's see here. Pull that out. Yeah. Set that there. Okay. Ooh. Finish it off. Ah. Oh well, I can get it later. Bit of a leaf here. That leaf off. Oop. Oh, a few more hops in there. And fill up the next one. But yeah, I'll be putting these in the freezer bag. And then they're dried out, you just throw them in the freezer, seal them nice and good, and really make sure that you don't expose oxygen to them. That is like the most important thing you can do to keep your hops good for like the longest amount of time, is you really want to you've really limited on the amount of oxygen they're exposed to. So freezer bag, freezer, really low oxygen, all that good stuff. Do that, your hops will keep for a good long time, to the point where you're ready to use them, which is the important thing. We want to use our hops. Otherwise, why would we go through all this work? It is a fair bit of tedious work. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's just the amount of work to be like a fun, neat thing, where it's not like also like especially burdensome. I mean, earlier this year when I was like harvesting blackberries, genuinely felt pretty burdensome after a point, because I literally just spent like hours and hours and hours out in the canes harvesting them. Don't have our dehydrator fully loaded, so I will not start it just yet. Granted, I've been yapping a lot and water. Okay. Our next victim. Ready? Start at the end and work our way down. But yeah. Still yapping about Hopstream. Spectacular. Yeah. It's a fun, neat thing to just like be like, hey, this beer, I grew the hops for it. I know how the like harvest yeast. Granted, that's working off yeast I've already have. Granted, I generally just use like a standard ale yeast for the pale ale I brew with these. Usually just don't get enough of a harvest to have hops for like more than one beer. Granted, this is the second year. So I did do a change up to my trellising act, if you will. And what I did is I basically took some conduit, basically the stuff you'll run like electrical wire through. And I took some of that and I basically drilled self-tapping screws into it, give me like little like tie-off points for my trellising. And then I basically use that and then I set like the conduit on top of the goal, my basketball goal that I mentioned earlier that I was like using as my support for my hop binds. And that was basically kind of a big upgrade in terms of, because one of the things that is I actually primarily set it on like the backside, so it gave me a lot more points to tie my twine you see here to places, because otherwise like I was just slam dunking hops before that, and I'm sure you can tell from that just terrible dad joke just now that yeah, that's where I was mostly tying up my hops. So it gave me a lot more tie off points with the conduit idea. Actually, one thing I kind of want to spend some time on, granted this will probably be a winter chore, looking forward to summer, well, growing season again, because we do get proper winters here at the homestead. Not too much snow though. We'll occasionally get like a few snowy days, but nothing like terrible. There's been some like historical instances of like lots of snow in my neck of the woods, but nothing terrible. But one of the things I want to plan or kind of like consider tackling is a project where I figure out a better way to trellis my hops. So adding the electrical conduit to my goal, the basketball goal that I was using to trellis the hops, was good. But it was definitely a step in the right direction. But it's not the ultimate solution. And what I want to find is an ultimate solution for my hop growing. I basically, right now, my current vision, if you will, for what I want to do is I want to create something where it can like set into the basketball goal, but it's like there's like an easy way to take it on and off. I kind of want to make like a frame, and I want to make it like adjustable, like where I can raise and lower. I don't know if I'm gonna get as crazy as like adding pulleys. I don't know if I want to be that ambitious. Granted, that sounds fun, and also depending on how much extra stuff I do with like the basketball goal and stuff, I think something I would like to do is maybe add a bat box to the goal at some point. I do think it would be like real funny to like have a bat box, but also have it like above the hops, and that way I can fertilize my hops with bat guano. There's a bit of synergy. And also just bats are cool. And there's been far too many. There's been way too many mosquitoes this year. I've just been like every time I go out to like harvest tomatoes or something, goodness gracious, there's like so many mosquitoes, especially like out in the area where like my tomatoes are growing. Like out there, it's just been like really rough. It's like, what the hell? Fine. Okay, this one's a biggin. It's a biggin. So next, but good news on tomatoes though. So I grow a dozen tomato plants every year. Now for personal home consumption of a singular individual, yours truly. It's a lot. Well, there's a reason why a single homesteading man is growing a gratuitous amount of tomatoes. Aside as like throw some here and there at family members, and that is this individual loves salsa. So what I do is I will juice up a whole bunch of tomatoes. And also this is kind of like a thing that I do because it was a thing my parents did when I was a kid. Is we would grow a bunch of tomatoes, we would juice them, and then we'll freeze the juice. And because tomatoes don't all ripen all at once, you know, like you get like a continual harvest as like the plant grows. Well, once we build up juice, freeze, all that fun stuff, and there's enough like frozen tomato juice, we'll make salsa with it. So there will at some point be salsa making stream. Now for that stream, that's gonna also be like another like fun chill stream. I don't know, fun for me. I don't know how much fun anyone's having like watching this, but if you are, that's great. But yeah, we'll be getting I'll be getting excited about salsa. Because also like another fun thing about, I don't know, old man's having thoughts to himself. So old man thoughts to himself is like, hey, even if like no one watches this, that's fine. I'm okay with that because let's sour hop. Oh, okay. Okay, just good enough. So even if no one watches this, like, guess what? I still got my hops harvested. Guess what? If it's like a project stream, guess what? I got a project done. Oops. I threw one a little too far and a little too hard. Like, so even if I am a nobody, you know what? I'm still getting stuff done. And I can look back on this and just be like, man, fun. And also just like, hey, this is just what I want to do. I'm a hobbyist VTuber. It's great. I get to make stuff when I want. I get to, if unfortunate bouts of sickness were to occur as they've had recently, hey, if I need to cancel, then hey, I'm always gonna take care of number one, and I'm gonna always encourage people, anywheres. Hey, you're number one in your world. Take care of yourself. Worth it all the time, because even if you have like other obligations in your life, obligations to like family members, spouse, kids, whatever, like whatever you got going on in life, always take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be in the position to take care of those who you wish to take care of. Always important to take care of yourself first, because when you're taken care of, then you have the capability of taking care of others. Which is an aside to that, like, I really do hope I get over this sooner rather than later, because I will be eligible for a blood donation appointment here soonish, and Red Cross has very politely informed me that they're like, hey, there's a blood shortage. We're giving out really nice gift cards for the rest of the month of August. Oh, I'm like, well, I was planning to give anyway, so neat gift card, cool. And I really haven't seen like any other insects other than these black bugs. I haven't really noticed these much before. I really feel like something I should probably do. I'm not like a super insect guy or anything, but I mean, like, hey, I'm a guy. Insects are cool. I kind of would like to do like a insects of the homestead stream or something, or catch a whole bunch of insects and like show them to you guys, and maybe also talk about like different things you can do. Oh, there's like a little black one it's crawling away. Man, we're actually really getting through this. Actually, once we get through this bind, I'll show you how far we've come. I'm actually genuinely impressed at the time we're making. I actually thought this would probably be like a bit longer than 2 hours, and I don't last that long with the amount of hops we've got going on here. So, I'm not doing as good of a job looking at the hops and using my hands at the same time. And this is actually literally like the best stream for me. Is the best. But there I go, being lazy about life, because hey, we're all human. But also, like, going back to that conversation I was having with myself earlier about whenever I do a stream and no one watches, I at least get something done. Whoa! Holy smokes! Oh, there! Ooh, 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 ooh. Did I scare it? Did I scare it? Did I scare it? It's right on the edge of the box. It's right on the edge of the box. Oh, this spider's so huge. You can barely see it. You barely see it. It's like there. It's right there. I'm gonna just keep doing my. I'm gonna let it do its thing, because this is definitely like the size of spider that I'm a pretty chill guy with spiders, but man, this is definitely a spider that if I found it on me would slightly unnerve me. Gosh, look at it. Just chilling it out. They're just being chill. Oh, you chill, dude. Chill, dude. Granted, parents, most spiders are female, or at least the ones I interact with. There's male spiders, but I would never want to be a spider. Very gruesome death. But at what cost? Your life? Just when I had to open my mouth about like, oh man, I wish there was some cool, neat insects in here. Trying to show you guys, and now we see one where it's just like, that's a less desirable one to show off. Give me a quick second. I'm gonna get a couple of like swigs of water, and I might get a little antagonistic towards the spider. Possibly. Okay. So if I move the box, spider move. Ooh, the activity there. I do want to get this. Oh, a spider? It looks like a spider. There's a weird looking spider though. I want to show this off. It's a cool insect. Look. Wait. Ah, I don't want to block the view of the spider. Ugh. Look at that. Get a lot of hell on it. Wait. There we go. Wow. Okay. That spider's being a very chill dude. And I'm gonna respect that. And that's gonna put a little box of pops over there. So give me a second to throw some binds over. Oh yeah. I kinda wanted to progress. But yeah. There's the pile of binds that I no longer care about. I'm also gonna hey, yeah, let me know, remind me when I stick my hand back in there that there's probably a friendo. That friendo's probably gonna want to hide in there. I'm gonna have to be really mindful when I stick my hand back in there again. But yeah, a lot of progress. Really getting through this. Guys, back to the desk, and I'm gonna walk over and okay. Just gonna grab. Oops, sorry about that. This one is a little tangly. Figure out how it's to go and how it wants to do its thing, because yeah, this got a lot of small at the start. And going back to like the wildlife we've seen so far, lots of small bugs. Oops. Like it's something. I'm gonna snip it. Snip it there and there. Snip. Snip. Granted, did not get bit by that big spider. Granted, that's one of the cool things about some of the. Oh, yeah. Fun fact about spiders. If you run into a spider's web, like one above ground. Granted, this is primarily applicable to eastern US. So basically, you're like out in the woods, or you're like doing something, you hit a spider web, you're initially grossed out, which is quite understandable, by the way. The spider that is in that web is not one that can do great harm to. Which, I'm sure, if you got a full face of spiderweb, that'd be the least of your concern. But at least you don't have to worry about getting bit by something that can kill you, because around where I live, the primary spiders that can kill you are brown recluse, which is probably the most likely one I'm gonna encounter, or black widow. Granted, black widow, I mean, I've seen black widows, I've seen brown recluse. I cannot use words right now due to my condition. But oh yeah, another fun spider-related fact. Gotta get this tangled out. Come on, you. There we go. Yeah, the reason why Black Widow spider bites were such a killer for a while, well, back in the day, we used to have things called outhouses. An outhouse was basically a shed outside where you did your business, your waste extraction, well, your waste removal processes, those things. Yeah, after we stopped using outhouses for things, Deaths by Black Widow became less common and faded out. So, there's a fun, disturbing fact for you. Spider related. For all of you. Boop, boop. I wonder about a... I've been wondering. Okay. Oh, okay. That's just basically what I thought was going on. Okay. I wanted to just double check that. Just wanted to double check a thing. I was like, huh. I wonder. Oh, and that was just like a thing related to stream. But yeah, this one actually has like a lot of these hop-bind branches, which is kind of what makes it a bit more of a tangle-y-ness. It's kind of making it a little bit more difficult for me to go through. Because the hops are all like in a bind, all in a row, you can just go down the bind, but when they're like this, it's a wee bit more challenging. Fine. It's generally... Ooh, okay. Then we get those. Oh. Wait. You get between that and that. That. Okay, but now we're back to a singular set. Hops. Boop. Ooh. And I'm definitely going to be able to fill up the dryer after this. Granted, I also have to remember that I have a friend! Still hanging in the same spot. Friend is still hanging out in the same spot, which is good. If I have a big friend that I need to be like, hey, I need to steer clear of you, but at least knowing your location helps me out immensely in staying clear of your location. I should need that. Something I do want to get like better at when I do like Handcam streams. I definitely want to get better at keeping my eye on the screen and on you guys versus like looking down. I like to look down a lot. I think too much. I think looking down a little bit is fine, but I don't want to be eye to eye with the viewers, I suppose. Okay, cool. So that's another big one done. If this one's our this might be our last one, but it is this is an absolute monster. So we'll get to finish off on a big strong note. This will be fun. So, oh yeah. Anyone's got like suggestions for like woodworking projects for stream? I am all ears. Or like even like stuff to do on stream. I'm all ears for that. Granted, I do have a friend who is I'll say a regular streamer. Like, actually shows his face and stuff. Eventually, at some point, we're gonna do a collab. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't even know what we're gonna do. But we'll do a collab at some point. And that should be fun. It'll probably be a game. Because he's wanting to get me in the Monster Hunter, which I've already bought Monster Hunter for him. Because he pressured me into doing so. And I give him the peer pressure, like, oop. Yep. I get those leaves off. So at some point, there might actually be a rare gaming stream on this channel. Granted, I do think it's, to me, I think it's funny being a VTuber who doesn't play video games. So I'm pretty cool with this whole soul life thing I got going on, but it might be fun to just break it up every once in a while with some more traditional content, I guess. But that is a thing for another day. Got this for today, and then this upcoming Sunday, I'll be making a shop stool. So, for those who don't know or whatever's, my computer that's running the stream, it's not in the room I'm in. It's actually in the room next to this room, up on the wall. And as much as I love my PC case that I got for the thing, because so this friend who streams, he's also like a big like computer guy, and he actually he helped out a lot. His stream name's Good Guy Trav. He basically sat me down and was like, "Hey, Sugi, find a case for your computer." And I was like, "Okay, go find a case." And I found a case, and I picked one out and was like, "Okay, I think this will work." And he looked at it and was like, "Yep, that'll work for your build." I bought it, and it shipped, all that fun stuff, built the computer. It's great. There's one problem, but I have to take a sip of water now. Ugh. 2 sips of water. And that is the one problem. The power button is on top of the case, which my PC is up on a wall. Like the actual tower, I think it's like a foot below the ceiling or close to it. So I want to make so it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. I mean, I can reach the power button. I mean, I have really long arms. Like, let's see. I actually have measured my height in centimeters before, and what was I in centimeters? 165, I think? 165 centimeters? So, my height in centimeters is 165, but my wingspan, the distance from one fingertip to one fingertip when your like hands are out, yeah, that distance is like, so that distance is supposed to be, I think for most people, close to or similar to their height, their fingertip to fingertip distance. Yeah, my fingertip to fingertip distance is like 92 centimeters versus like my 165 height. So I've got long arms for my height, my build. Actually, when I was growing up, Mama Sugi was just like, "Man, she saw how like large my legs and stuff became going through puberty and that, and was like, "Man, you're gonna be a big kid." And I didn't turn into a big kid. I turned out perfectly average. Well, perfectly average, but with like really lanky build. Which I'll take it. I'll take it. There is a disadvantage of being too tall. I wouldn't know. I worked in basements. I worked in like low ceiling basements. I've hit my head on basement walls before. Well, like the braces and stuff, and you'll find in like basements. There's actually So for my day job, I am a HVAC technician, and we were doing a install in a customer's basement, but I guess they had issues with the basement or the foundation at some point. So they poured a new floor in the basement, and one of the things they did is they literally poured the new floor around the furnace. So like the furnace had like this like little area. Like you had like the furnace, and then there was like a gap all the way around it where they poured the new floor, and when you walk through that basement, you had to stoop because of like how, because when they did that, it raised the basement floor, and man, you walked with a really wide stride in order to keep your head from like hitting. Yeah, this is actually oh goodness gracious. This one's definitely way too... This is way too much of a jungle for me to be, like, actively, like, looking up while I work. Sorry about that. But I am thick in the humulus lupus jungle. Oh. Discovering treasure. And wearing out what I have left of my vocal cords. Granted, my vocal cords haven't been... It hasn't been that bad. It's just been a little nasally, and I've had a bit of a dry throat. Also, like, my AC system at removing humidity from the air. Like, I actually have like really low humidity in the house. I don't know if that's been like a thing that's been like contributing a little bit to what I've got, because really want to have a little bit of humidity in the home. Like, you generally don't want your humidity to get below 40%. If you get below 40% relative humidity, that's not good. That's actually a big reason why so many people get sick in winter, is because the humidity drops in the air because their furnaces are running. You're getting close to the end. Not seeing a... Ooh, there's a cute little spider. Ooh, fast too. Ooh. Do your thing, spider dude. Okay. Let's see, I think I'm past you. You're heading the other way. I'm heading this way. Okay. Box. Okay. It's like we're almost at the end of this journey to pick these hops. Yeah, this definitely was more like a hop picking stream versus a, I don't know, picking's harvesting, right? It's been fun to yap, even though the yapping has been less fun than usual, but that's just because I have personal stuff. Hopefully the throat will be cleared up and I'll be ready to yap over a table saw and all that fun stuff. So, let's see here. Get that leaf out of there. So, also, by the way, I've also had like bugs crawling up my legs. If you really see me look down, like actually what's going on. Friend's still here. Still there. Awesome. They've literally just been chilling out this whole time. Cool, cool. I do not stick. I don't want to stick my hand anywhere near a spider that's big as one of my fingernails. That's a pretty good size spider. So, our jungle is pretty thick. Actually, how thick is our... Ooh, wowzers. It's a 5-bind jungle, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got 5 binds. But it's so thick. Probably should have done something to trim this up. I don't think I would like to have more than like 2 to 3. 3 max. Ooh. Ooh! Oh, cool. So, got a little stink bug. Yeah! Yeah! We got to see something different. Also some of those like black bugs crawling around. Yeah, see the black bug crawling around? So many of your friends have been crawling on my legs. Taking my shorts out after the stream. Hey. Oh. Stuff. Got some small stuff here. I think that's it. Got some brain. But past that, we're just about done. Yay! Whew. But yeah. Real nice beer. And it's actually a bit of a messy beer to make because the hop cones are a bit more fibrous and thick versus just working with like the pelletized hops, which is what I normally brew with. Well, like the stuff I buy at the store. That's called a pelletized hop because it's basically hops compressed in the pellets. Kind of like a process form of them. And with this, these are whole. So if you were to like buy these like this, you would be basically buying like own hops. But that would be. Oh. And then got one more. Well, we're done. All done with you because hops get smaller than that. I don't think they're worth pursuing. Point you gotta draw the line. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pick a few off here. And I think once we get these, we'll be done. Goodness gracious, like an hour and a half. Well, technically less than that. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna show you all this. Actually, bring it out a little. Yeah. All we got. Boop. Got that. Yeah. Cool. Coolio. Oh. Any hops that... Ooh. Any hops that I can't get into the dehydrator, I'll lay them out on the... That can go away. So... He's still... I see my little friend right there. Little dot. Curled up spider. But any hops that I can't fit into the dehydrator, I think I'm just gonna start loading up the dehydrator. Any that don't fit in here, those are gonna chill out here. Because by having airflow around them, that will basically kind of sort of help them pre-dry if you will. And that will actually like that will help them like dry out even quicker. So like you could actually just like, if you didn't have a dehydrator, you could actually like take your hops, throw them on screens, and just let them naturally air dry. It's just if you have a home air dryer with having like the fan and like the little heating element, they will dry out much quicker. So it is a speedier cure time. And with the speedier cure time, you're also better likely to like all that good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and work on getting the dehydrator loaded up with our green gold that we gathered today. After that, I'll get this loaded, get started, and if, I mean, honestly, like if we don't got any more questions, anything you guys would prefer me to yap about or talk about, the most, not the expert, I like to think amongst VTubers and other lay people, I like to think I know a fair bit. So yeah, this has just been like a really chill, real easygoing stream, which is also like real nice. My life's been a little rough. Ick. I want to have like, I want to load it. I want to load my tray, but I don't want to have like so much that it covers the whole thing. This will be our final tray. It'll hold 5 trays. You go in there, stew. Oh wow. Hops are really busting out. Actually, look at this. And I think so. A little bit. Hops. Yeah, all those like dots up above my head. Yeah, those there. Lots of those today. So, take a little box, set it over here. Pull out my phone. Hey, you! You're the you're the big cheese right now. So, on my front cover, I've got a power cable that I can plug into power here. Then I have a little dial. Let's see here. I get that in frame. Yes, there it is. Cool. So, hops, you basically want to treat like herbs. So that's going to be your like lightest setting. Basically, I think I generally dry at 100 degrees. So I just had it for 100 degrees. Well, I literally just smelled the heating element in here turn on. Whew. Just looking at all the different, but yeah. So you want to use an herb setting. Basically, you just want to kind of use like a lowish heat level, simply because there's a lot of aromatic compounds in the hops, and if you were to use like a higher heat, that wouldn't be good for the hops as far as getting some of those flavors out. So got our hops. We got most of the hop harvest in the dehydrator. The hops are going to be in here for, I honestly don't know how long. I'm actually gonna, there. I want to have my hand on my table. once the hops are finished dehydrating, probably I'd say 24, 48 hours. I mean, it's pretty loaded right now, so I think we'll probably be closer to the 48. I will take some sealy bags, like the sealable plastic bags. Some people call them baggies. I'll put the hops in there, press it all down nice and tight, and then I'll throw it in the freezer. And then you will be able to see. I don't know if I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream making the Commoning Corners Pale Ale, which is gonna be the beer for this. Well, I might do that, but I won't. I don't plan to stream all my brews. The big reason why I actually did 2 brew days back to back, well, not back to back, but like streamed back to back brews, was because the first one I ran out of propane, and that was just a whole fun thing. So for all those who tuned in, thank you very much. Hopefully you learned something. If not, I hope you just enjoyed an old man yapping in a struggling fashion while he brings in the hop harvest. So, and this is a pretty chill, relaxed stream. I mean, hey, but it was also like kind of something like I've always had like an envision of, like, man, I want to watch a VTuber do this thing. I want to watch a VTuber like yap while yapping while harvesting hops, and I've done it for myself. So for all those who tuned in, thank you very much for doing so, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. And also take care of yourself. Don't stress yourself out too much. I mean, I didn't stress myself too much, but I probably pushed my throat a little bit. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you all in the next one. So thanks for tuning in, and bye bye.